Ok, muy bien, bienvenidos y bienvenidas. ¡Feliz lunes a todos! ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Están bien?
Bien.
Bien, magnífico. Make sure you take yourself off of mute as you may have some questions to pop in here or there. I anticipate this may be one of those kind of days. What you need to have handy for today is your trusty book. The exercises that were like way too hard for people to do because they mixed all those lessons together, right? And then they did the exercises that mixed all those principles together. That was the assignment. If you didn't do it, don't worry about it. We had said, I believe, the evens, am I right? It was the evens we were doing. Estamos en la página 117. No, 116. 116. So we're going to be using this. We're going to be talking a little bit about that whole adverb thing, and we're going to do some practice on adverbs. So any questions you have are fair game, wide open today. As it is the last class of this particular session, and then we're on hiatus for, I think it's 3 weeks until we start. And I'll send out an email the week before. I think it's like January, what, 11th or 12th, something like that, that we start up back. But of course, for the holiday season, we're off. You know, we're just going to kind of wrap up, do a little review of all this. We're going to talk a lot about holidays today. We're going to have quite a long period of time, and I do not think I'm going to send you into small breakout rooms. I think I'm just going to have people share their holiday discussions and talking about what they typically do, right? All together in a larger group, because I want to encourage people to ask each other questions. And so we'll do that the last half of class. But we're going to start with our review here. That's going to have all different kinds of comparisons and superlatives. And then we'll talk about adverbs. So we're going to start with that. Vamos a empezar en la página 116, 116. We're going to take a look at those evens that we had for homework. And again, they're going to interject and do some equality comparisons, some unequally comparisons, and some superlatives thrown in. Entonces, miro número 2, and we're doing an as expensive, so that means an equal comparison here. And we're comparing masculine things. Su carro es caro, your car is expensive. Su carro es caro, pero no es
Tan caro.
Tan caro, tan
Como
caro, as expensive, tan caro como mi carro. No es tan caro como mi carro. Okay, número 4, and we want an unequal, more interesting. Nuestra clase de matemáticas es
más interesante.
Más interesante que la clase de historia. Más interesante. Bien. Número 6. We want a smaller, so it's going to be an unequal comparison. Smaller. Su casa es
más pequeña.
Más pequeña. Más pequeña, and you want that pequeña. Because we're comparing casa, right? Okay. Su casa es más pequeña que mi apartamento. Wow, your house is smaller than my apartment. Debe de ser un apartamento enorme. That must be a huge apartment. 8, we want a more exciting. So we want unequal comparison here. Estas películas, and it's going to be something plural. Estas películas son
más emocionantes.
Más emocionantes sí, emocionantes que los programas de televisión. Ok. Yes, less wide. So you had to look up the word for wide. And we've got las calles. It's feminine as plural. Las calles son
Menos anchas.
menos anchas, menos anchas. And because it's less, right? So instead of más, we have menos. Menos anchas. Anchas, femenina, plural, que las avenidas. Bien. 12, older. And here we're looking at not a human being, but a thing. So we can use that word viejo or vieja. We've got casa roja. Esa casa roja es
Más vieja.
más vieja que la casa amarilla. Sí, más vieja, más vieja. Bien. Okay, less than. And this is talking about a verb of knowing. So we don't have a description, just the less than. Él sabe
Menos que.
menos que. So with this, when you're using a less or more with a verb, we don't have an adjective in the middle. So we squish together, you know, the que. We don't have something in between there. Menos que nosotros, menos que. The best. We want something that is top of the heap, and we've got este restaurante masculino singular. Este restaurante sirve, oh, perdón, no, we're talking about comida. Comida. I was looking at restaurante, but we are describing comida. Este restaurante sirve
La mejor.
la mejor comida de la ciudad. The best food in the city. So where we say in the city, since we are mentioning the group we're picking it out of, instead of in, it's de la ciudad, right? That's one of those things, if you make a mistake with that, people will get it and it will not be a big deal. But it's nice if you remember the de la ciudad. La mejor comida. And mejor does not need a feminine form. It can go plural. Like if I put in there instead of comida, platos, dishes, like different kinds of dishes, then it would be los mejores platos. But here it's la mejor comida. Okay.
Question.
No, oh, sí,
Question,
sí.
why would that not be a superlative?
It is a superlative.
Mejor is a, oh, it is a la, okay.
Okay, buena pregunta, Marianne. Very good question. Okay, these four comparisons that are irregular, right? Mejor and its opposite peor. Mayor and its opposite menor. They're irregular because we don't have to pair them up with a más or menos.
Right.
That's why they're called irregular. So the way you make it superlative is just tagging the word the
Okay.
in front of it.
Okay.
Ok, entonces, puedo decir la mejor parte de la temporada navideña, the best time of Christmas season. La mejor parte de la temporada navideña es cuando decoramos el árbol, por ejemplo. O la peor película que la peor película que tengo que ver con mi esposo es Repo Man. Odio la película Repo Man, pero a mi esposo le encanta esa película ridícula que se llama Repo Man. Ok, bien. Ok, a ver. But those irregulars, we just stick that the word in front, and then we don't need the más or the menos for least, right? Ok, estamos en 18, ¿no? Sí, exacto. Okay, the youngest, and now we're talking about people. So we don't want really, well, okay, we'll let you plug in what you want. Anita tiene 2 años. Anita's only 2 years old. Anita tiene 2 años. Ella es
Menor.
La menor.
la
La
menor.
menor.
La menor de la familia. La menor, because we're talking about people who have an age. La menor would be the most common. Now, if you chose to say la más joven, people would know what you meant. But really, the more common way to say that for a human is la menor. La menor, the youngest. Okay. 20, cleaner. Cleaner, uneven, unequal kind of comparison. El baño está
Más limpio.
más limpio que el comedor. Más limpio. Bien. 22. ¿Quién es? And we want the best and then the worst. And we're talking about político, a politician. ¿Quién es
El mejor.
el mejor político de Estados Unidos? And then we want the opposite, the worst. ¿Quién es
El peor.
el peor? ¿Quién es el peor? And you can just, because you already referred to político, you don't really need to repeat it in that second half because we know you're saying the best politician and the worst. We do the same thing in English. We'll just say the worst because you already know we're talking about a certain category of noun. Vale, 24, sadder, uneven comparison. Estoy
Más triste.
Más triste.
más triste que ellos. Estoy más triste que ellos. Bien, as much. Oh, and now this one is probably the toughest one you've got, or one of the toughest ones. We are using energía, which is a noun. And that means that normally you have that word tan, but with a noun, we have to lengthen it into the longer form of the word. And we have to make it agree with that feminine word, energía. So we need, ella tiene
Tanta.
tanta energía. Ella tiene tanta energía como sus estudiantes. Tanta energía. Bien. Vale, 28. Cantan. Better. And we just want to say, oh, we're talking about the way she sings. So we're talking about that verb cantan. Ellas cantan
Mejor.
mejor que. Mejor que sus hermanos. Mejor que sus hermanos. So again, when we're talking about doing an action, we don't have a description between the, mejor and the que. Just mejor que. Y 30, win. We want to say they win more or earn. In this case, it's probably earn. Ganar dinero is earn money. Ganar can also be to win. So it's not really clear from this, but usually ganar dinero is to earn money. Ganar has two meanings, earn and win. Ellos ganan
Más.
más dinero. Más dinero que Pedro. Más dinero que Pedro. And it's just more stuff. So we don't have a description there. They earn more money. Okay. ¿Tienen preguntas o no? No. Ok. Bueno. A ver. Entonces, well then, we're going to get started with this whole thing of adverbs. This idea of using mente. And I want you to take a quick look. You can see the examples they give here. And you'll notice that when a word carries an accent mark, and I'm going to do that because when we type in answers later on, when I do a share screen, I've got my accent mark keyboard is AWOL this morning. So I may not be able to type that in, but adverbs there are all kinds of adverbs, and it's not super important that every word classifies as an adverb, but when you see a mente, you should know it's telling how you do something. Okay, it's describing not a thing, but it's describing an action. Okay, and in English, a lot of our adverbs, but not all, a lot of them end in ly at the end. Okay, quickly, slowly, beautifully. Someone sings beautifully. They dance beautifully. And in English, in Spanish, we've got a similar suffix that we stick on to the end for many adverbs, not all, but many. And that equivalent is mente. The only trick is you have to get that descriptive word that you tag mente onto. You have to get into a feminine form first. So if it's a word that ends in an o, you flip the o to an a, and then you tag on the mente. If it's a word that does not end in o, remember that those kind of adjectives are the same for masculine and feminine. So if it doesn't end in o, it's okay as it is, just tag on the mente. So we have these examples they give us of claro, claramente, rápido, rápidamente. And you'll notice if it carries an accent mark as the word rápido, it'll carry an accent mark generally in the same place when we make it rápidamente. Lento and lentamente. Franco, francamente. Honesto, honestamente. Íntimo, íntimamente. Último, últimamente. Bien. I want to point out two words on this list. You may want to star them in your book. Those two words are rápido and lento. You may want to star those. Sometimes with these two particular words, it's really just these two particular words. Some people, from habit, just don't bother with the mente. So somebody may say, los niños corren muy rápido. And that's okay. Or, ese jugador es terrible. Wow, that player is lousy. Corre muy lento. With lento and rápido, people sometimes don't bother with the mente. They say what they feel like. They kind of have permission to do either thing. So just know with those particular words, you may hear them without the mente, and that's not somebody making a mistake. For whatever reason, it's allowed. Probably allowed because so many people just do it. Okay. En la próxima página, on the next page, we see examples of adjectives that do not end in an o and what those look like with a mente tagged onto the end. So we go from alegre, happy, to alegremente. Feliz, felizmente. Triste, tristemente. Pobre perrito. Fácil, fácilmente. Frecuente, frecuentemente. Okay? And they tell you about what happens with two adverbs together. Don't bother yourself with that because you're not writing term papers. You're probably not going to do that. And if you do it and you make a mistake, no one's going to care. So read it for your own edification, but in daily conversation, that rule is not going to be something that's super duper important. But let's take a look at some of the examples down here and see what we would do with these words. Sincero, sincere. Sometimes that word is also used for honest. Okay. ¿Cómo se dice sincerely?
Sinceramente.
Sinceramente.
Sinceramente. We need to change it to an A. Sinceramente. Sinceramente. Okay. Crazily. Loco becomes?
Locamente.
Locamente.
Locamente, right? Total becomes totally.
Totalmente.
Totalmente. Totalmente. Verdadero. Here's a long word. Becomes?
Verdaderamente.
Verdaderamente, verdaderamente. And you may notice these words may feel to your mouth and tongue like they are quite long. Well, they are. So if you need to slow down to get those out in the right syllable sequence, don't feel strange about that. Inocente becomes
Inocentemente.
inocentemente. Inocentemente, we do not change anything with an a there. Cariñoso, affectionate, becomes affectionately. Cariñosamente, cariñosamente, cariñosamente. Okay. Completo becomes
Completamente.
completamente, completamente. Normal becomes
Normalmente.
normalmente es una palabra muy común, normalmente. Normalmente no usamos el libro todos los días. Normalmente no usamos este libro todos los días. Normally we don't use this book every single day. Bien. Esta lección es verdaderamente fácil.
Sí.
Verdaderamente fácil. Bien. Okay. So we've got all of those endings. And we had tres, where we did not tag on an a, cinco, where we did not tag on an a, and ocho, where we did not tag on an a. We did not have to. We could leave those words as they were and just slap on the mente. Okay. Bien. I do want you to take a look at, but we're not, if we get time to come back to this later, we might, but I don't think we'll have time to do all of it. The next couple pages are one of those things maybe you want to look at over Christmas. Adverbs is one of those things. It's not really important that you know these words fall in the category of adverb, but as vocabulary words, they might be really important, okay? Adverbs might talk about how you do something, when you do something. They categorize them into how you do something, time and place. Yeah, so in other words, really they fall mostly into how you do something, where you do something, or when. But this is of interest, these next couple pages, really more as vocabulary and not so much as a grammar thing. But all these words talk about actions in some way. So it's like mucho, tanto, poco, a little bit, casi, almost, más, menos, demasiado. That little word demasiado, star that puppy. That word demasiado es importante. Demasiado. Demasiado is too much. If you want to say something costs too much, you need that word. Demasiado. Cuesta demasiado. Cuesta demasiado. If you are down in Mexico, if you are engaging in what they call el regateo, regateo is that bartering that happens in a lot of marketplace. You don't go into the supermarket and do regateo and say, I only want to pay $1 for these eggs. Yeah, Tomás, te ríes. You are laughing because you know that's true. So we don't barter in all situations, but in a lot of situations, especially if you're in an open air kind of market where people are selling things on the street, people do tend to sometimes bargain back and forth. And this is one of those words, cuesta demasiado, it costs a little too much. That's how you kind of opening your bartering and you offer a lower price, right? Okay, demasiado es importante. Okay, adverbs that tell how something is done. Bien, that word you've used forever. Bien, well, mal, badly, mejor and peor, better and worse. Okay, so if we talk about how you do something, we do not use bueno, we use bien. Por ejemplo, ella, Mis sobrinos, my nieces and nephews, mis sobrinos tocan el piano y el violín muy bien. Tocan muy bien. They play very well. Tocan instrumentos musicales muy bien. We would not say tocan muy bueno. They play really good. Do we do that in English?
Sí.
See, a lot of people in English make that mistake of, they play really good. Wow, he sings good. You hear that. Yeah, right. Yeah, if you're, that either grates on your nerves like fingers on chalkboard, or it doesn't. But we all know there are a lot of people who say that. In Spanish, I think you hear that mistake less, en mi opinión. That's a dividing line people do not cross very well. Entonces, por ejemplo, when you say, ¿cómo estás? Estoy bien. I am well.
Mhm,
A lot of people here in English will say, I'm good.
mhm.
I'm well. I feel good. I feel well. Well, okay. So that happens, but never estoy bueno. That means I'm good. No, estoy bien. I'm well. Okay, so bien and mal. Watch out for those. And then all these little words down here son de vocabulario, right? A veces, sometimes. Ahora, now. Ahora mismo makes it a little more urgent. Ahora mismo. Ahora mismo estamos en la clase. Ahora mismo.
Mhm.
And when you say it, those words are going to run together. The a from the end of ahora runs into the perdón. No, ahora mismo, but they do still run together. It sounds like one word, ahora mismo. It's not an a running into another a, but it still runs together. Ahora mismo, siempre, always, todavía. Todavía, you'll notice, has lots and lots of definitions. This will become obvious another time. Todavía is used by itself to mean still or yet or no or not yet. That may sound confusing, but that merits a lesson of its own that we will do when we come back in January, because todavía and todavía no are a thing. You hear people use this a lot, and it's used a lot to say not yet. Por ejemplo, si estamos celebrando en la casa durante la Navidad o Hanukkah o lo que sea, bien, y alguien dice, ¿dónde está tío Luis? ¿Dónde está tío Luis? Where's Uncle Louis? ¿Sí? Todavía no. ¿Ha llegado? Has he come? Todavía no. Not yet. Todavía no. Okay, so we'll take that one. We're going to take todavía and ya, todavía no, and todavía, or and ya no, for our January lesson. Those two, you might want to put, I would put a box around the todavía, the ya no, and the ya, all those three. Those three are used as kind of flip sides, opposites of each other. And we'll do a lesson on that come January. Because ya is also a confusing word. It means many things. It can mean now, right now. It can mean yeah. It means a bunch of things, and it depends on the context. So we'll take this question of ya and todavía, or ya no, or todavía no together in January. Okay. Temprano, early, right? Tarde, late, aquí, allí, here and there. So those are adverbs of place, right? Acá, allá, you may say, why are there two words for here and two words for there? It is kind of a regional thing, and it sometimes also depends on the word you use. And we'll do a little something on that again, probably with our little lesson on todavía and ya. Often when you hear acá, you'll see this motion happening with a hand.
Come.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
often with a verb of motion, but it does tend to be somewhat regional. Some countries or areas of countries, they use it more commonly than others. So just know that aquí and acá mean the same thing. When you hear it, that should flag you to, they are using it, right? And allí, allá, it's kind of the same thing. But often acá with verbs of motion, like come and go, okay? Okay, a ver, words like cerca, nearby, en lo alto, up there, at the tippy top, en lo alto, way at the tippy top, right? Lejos, far, adelante, in front of, al fondo, in the back or at the bottom. Al fondo, often at the bottom, like al fondo de la página, at the bottom of the page, yeah? Or al fondo de la bolsa, in the bottom of the bag. If you've got a bag, you're carrying stuff. Atrás, in back. Arriba, up, abajo, down or downstairs. Adentro, inside of. Afuera, outside. I would, if I were you as a traveler, also star or box those little words cerca and lejos, cerca and lejos. Cerca y lejos son importantes. Those are important. Whenever you're asking for directions or you need to know where something is, people will often, oh, está muy cerca. It's very close by. It's very nearby. No está lejos. It's not far. Oh, está muy lejos. It's very far. Those are important for, directions. And then we've got a whole set of context for direction, but we're going to leave that for right now. So just know that adverbs, these kind of words they give you on this page, actually, most of these words are very, very commonly used. So that's something to maybe check out for January time, but don't feel flummoxed that you need to know what category of words. Just know them as vocab, and we'll plug some of those in next time in January. I do want to take a look at some adverb formation, however. Vamos a ver. We're going to take a look at these. Okay. Pueden ver. Can you guys see this? Sí o no? Okay. Bien. We're going to just off the top of our heads see if we can make some adverbs out of these. Claro?
Claramente.
Claramente. And once you get used to these, you'll start, when you hear people talking, you'll hear them using them quite a lot. Correcto?
Correctamente.
Correctamente. Horrible?
Horriblemente.
Horriblemente. Difícil?
Difícilmente.
Difícilmente. We don't really say difficultly, do we?
No.
But in a difficult way, yeah. So we sometimes have to modify those for English. Alegre?
Alegremente.
Alegremente. Triste?
Tristemente.
Tristemente. Enojado means angry. So angrily.
Enojadamente.
Enojadamente. Enojadamente. Lento. Fácil.
Lentamente.
Lentamente. Rápido.
Rápidamente.
Rápidamente. Raro.
Raramente.
Raramente. Bien. And now we've got some adverbs that are not mentes. They're just adverbs. She eats little. Oh, you might say a little.
Un poco.
La muchacha come poco.
Poco.
Poco. Poco is one of my bugaboo words. I will tell you why. Many people have misnamed streets. and neighborhoods and subdivisions and towns here in Arizona with this word poco, and they use it where they should use pequeño. Poco and pequeño both mean little, but in different ways. Poco means a little bit, a small amount, whereas pequeño is small in size. And it's like the distinction between bueno and bien. Lots of people mess up with that poco and pequeño, but we need poco to describe how somebody does something. In other words, she eats very little, come poco. Okay, the man eats a lot. El hombre come
Mucho.
mucho. Bien. Maria never comes on Mondays. Maria?
Nada.
No.
Nunca.
Almost. You're in your negative words, so you're in the right ballpark. Nada is nothing.
Nunca.
Nunca. One of our negative words, nunca, never comes. That's an adverb. Who knew? I always eat breakfast.
Yo como.
Como.
Siempre.
Siempre como.
Yo siempre desayuno.
Desayuno.
And oh, you could say siempre como del desayuno, but little did you know, instead of using come, desayuno, eats breakfast, you can use the verb desayunar and drop the word comer. Desayunar es to eat breakfast. Yo siempre desayuno. I always eat breakfast. That desayuno is a conjugated form of desayunar, to eat breakfast. Okay, very well.
Muy bien.
Bien.
Muy bien. Muy bien. Muy is also an adverb. Okay, vale. Ahora, vamos a ver. Let's see if we can get some of these words in here. I agree with you completely. I totally agree with you. Totalmente.
Mente.
And I will send you the link for all these so you can use it to check yourselves later on. No puedo sonreír. I cannot smile happily.
Felizmente.
Felizmente. Bien, sí, exacto. Hice means I did. I did the big exam easily.
Fácilmente.
Fácilmente. And it would ding me here if I didn't have my accent mark. Thankfully, they've got a thing I can click on. Bien. No entendí nada. And they're using some past here just so you see what it looks like. No entendí nada. I didn't understand it. It doesn't mean I don't understand. I didn't understand. No entendí nada. I spent. Pasé todas las horas en esa clase. Oh, inútil. Útil means useful. Inútil is useless. We got to have a Zoom glitch, guys.
Ooh.
Who knew? There must be a lot of people on.
Yeah.
Nobody at my house is on internet, so it's not my Wi-Fi. Okay. Inútil is useless. So uselessly,
Inútilmente.
Inútilmente. Okay, a ver. Hipotético is hypothetical. Hypothetically.
Hipotéticamente.
Hipotéticamente. Y necesito el acento aquí. Hipotéticamente. Hypothetically. Los cubanos hablan. Rápidamente. Rápidamente. Y es la verdad. That is totally true, culturally, folks. Cubans are one of the fastest talking groups you will ever meet. Okay. Me mudo. Me mudo means I'm moving away from, meaning I'm picking up my residence and moving it. Okay. Not I'm moving my hands, but I'm moving away. Me mudo de esta casa.
The screen is not
Oh,
up.
it's not up. Perdón. Oh, you know what? And it ditched my chat box. It ditched everything. Momentito. Okay, I got to readjust this because it glitched on me. Gracias. Thank you for telling me this. Okay. A ver. Mejor. Okay. No wonder. Okay. Ahora. ¿Pueden ver? Can you see now?
Mhm.
Sí, bien. Okay. Me mudo de esta casa.
Tristemente.
Tristemente. Y gracias. Thank you for telling me about that. When it glitches out on me, it erases all my settings I had. I have to go back and tell it what to do again. Espero. I hope. I sincerely hope.
Sinceramente.
Sinceramente. Espero sinceramente que nunca te pase nada malo. I sincerely hope that nothing bad happens to you. Bien. A ver. Bueno, su llegada, your or his arrival or her arrival, or could be your arrival. Su llegada era
Totalmente.
totalmente inesperada. Totalmente. Completely, totally unexpected. Inesperada es unexpected. Bien, la niña. Oh, lindo is a word for pretty. It's a synonym for bonito. La niña sonríe.
Lindamente.
Lindamente. Lindamente. Bien. She smiles prettily. Soplada means was blowing. The wind was blowing. El viento soplaba.
Suavemente.
Suavemente.
Suavemente, suavemente, softly. Softly. If it were the opposite, it would be fuerte, and you change fuerte to
Fuertemente.
fuertemente. Exacto, bien. Mensual means monthly. Tengo que pagarlo. I have to pay it every single month, so it becomes mensual.
Mensualmente.
Mensualmente,
Mensualmente.
monthly, every single month. When do you do it? You do it every single month, mensualmente. Pleno. Pleno becomes
Plenamente.
plenamente. Pleno is kind of a hard word to explain. Pleno in plena calle means in the middle of the street. We'll come back to that another time. Oh, because I want to get back over to your description soon. Desafortunado. If you want to say unfortunately, this one is really useful. Unfortunately, it becomes desafortunadamente. 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 Unfortunately. Desafortunadamente. No hice caso de eso. I did not pay attention to this, is what the rest of that says. Acarició means somebody, acarició is to caress, to, yeah, you know, you touch them softly. Su bebé softly. Suave is soft, suave. Suavemente, suavemente, bien. Okay, we're going to do just a couple more. Las negociaciones avanzan. The negotiations are advancing very slowly. Lentamente. This is like Brexit. Yeah, there you go. Okay. A ver. Aproximado. If you want to say approximately.
Aproximadamente.
Aproximadamente. 25.8 millones de diabéticos. Uy, ay, me parece mucho. Wow, that seems like a lot. Y normal, normally.
Normalmente.
Normalmente no me gustan los videojuegos. Normally I don't like video games. 2 más 2 more, and then we will leave this for a bit. Finally.
Finalmente.
Finalmente. Now, to say finally, there are different ways you can do that. Finalmente or por fin. Por fin. Por fin es lo mismo, is the same thing, just a different way of saying finalmente. Por fin. So you can use por fin instead of finalmente. Llegó al aeropuerto means he arrived or she arrived at the airport. Una más. Real. Realmente soy bien fanático. Really, fanático, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of classical music. Soy bien fanático is kind of an odd way of, but well, it would be the normal way to state it. Soy bien fanático. I'm quite a fan. Yeah, I'm quite a fan. Bien fanático. Fanático is fanatic. Like you think, but it means you're like really into something, right? And it's not estoy, it's soy. I am a huge fan. You know, like I'm addicted to this stuff. I'm a huge fan. Okay, bien. And I will give you the links so you can try a whole bunch more of those just on your own time, but I want to leave quite a lot of time for us to talk. Vamos a conversar. Antes de empezar, ¿hay preguntas? Any questions before we start? ¿Sí o no?
No.
No, okay. I did ask you guys to prepare something, you know, a little bit of a conversation to talk about what you normally do to celebrate, whatever holiday it is that you celebrate. La Navidad, Hanukkah, lo que sea, whatever it may be, and talk about what you normally do normalmente. Maybe you want to throw in one normalmente or originalmente or whatever it is that you do. But to talk about something that you do with celebrating. And I want us to share this all together so that we're not kind of closed off in smaller groups. While people are doing this, I want you to think after they describe something, I would like somebody to try to ask a question about what that person said. Okay, por ejemplo, voy a empezar. I will start, como siempre. Normalmente, mi actividad favorita de la Navidad, para celebrar la Navidad, es decorar el árbol de Navidad. Normalmente es mi actividad favorita. Ahora, este año, no puedo decorar, no puedo poner mi árbol de Navidad. Porque está en el closet, está en el armario. It's in the closet. Está en el armario donde trabaja mi hija con sus cosas de la universidad. Sus maletas están en el armario, sus cajas enormes para la residencia están en el armario, sus cosas para pintar están en el armario. No puedo alcanzar, I cannot reach, no puedo alcanzar nada en mi armario. Y por eso, therefore, por eso, no pongo mi Navidad, mi árbol de Navidad. Pero normalmente La cosa que me gusta más de decorar es poner las luces. Poner las luces, ¿sí? Okay. If somebody wanted to ask me about that, they might ask, Marilyn, ¿pones luces blancas o luces de colores en el árbol?
Mhm.
Do you use
Mhm.
white lights or
Lights or
Color light.
colorful lights.
someone might ask, ¿de qué tamaño? What?
Oh,
Height.
Size. Yeah.
Size.
¿De qué tamaño? Tamaño, size. ¿De qué tamaño es tu árbol? What size is your tree? Somebody might ask, ¿qué color es tu favorito para los ornamentos? ¿Qué color es tu favorito para los ornamentos? Ok. ¿Entienden?
sí.
Ok, vale. ¿Alguien quiere empezar? Who wants to start? Okay, Trish. Yay. Oh, and you have to take yourself off of mute. And
I'll
the
be
rest
the
of you,
guinea, I'll be the guinea pig. Just don't ask me any hard questions. Okay.
algo fácil, Trish.
Mi familia celebra Hanukkah. Hanukkah dura 8 días. Cada noche encendemos una vela en la menorá. Recitamos los bendiciones sobre las bellas. Do you comprende? Blessings?
Bendiciones.
Yes.
Bendiciones are blessings.
Normalmente cocinemos latkes de patatas.
Latkes. Me encantan latkes.
Son las mejores con salsa de manzana o crema agria en, I can't read my writing, Ellos, sour cream.
Sí, ok. Sí,
Silos.
continúa.
Okay. Durante Hanukkah. Últimamente, los más kids, I think it says niños, I can't read my writing, más pequeños reciben un regalo cada noche de Hanukkah. Este año no nos reuniremos con toda la familia, solo nuestra familia inmediata en 1 de enero para celebrar Hanukkah.
El 1 de enero. El 1 de enero.
It's not, oh, I won't say, I'll just wait for questions.
Ok.
Sí.
El primero de enero. Primero is the only time we use.
I couldn't remember, yeah,
Bien.
right. Okay, that's total.
Ok. Bien. Hiciste bien. You did well. Ok. Tengo una pregunta, Trish. Tengo una pregunta. Y mi pregunta es los niños reciben un regalo cada noche.
Mhm.
Para el último regalo, el número 8,
Ujú.
es un regalo más importante, un regalo más grande. ¿Es el mejor regalo o no? Son iguales.
I don't know. No, not particularly.
No.
Todos los regalos son mismo. Oh,
Los
it's,
mismos. Bien.
más o menos. It's
Más
just-
o menos. Son más o menos iguales.
Sí, sí, más o menos iguales.
Excelente. equivalentes. About the same. Son equivalentes. Bien.
¿Más preguntas?
Sí. ¿Cuál es tu parte favorita?
¿Tu plato favorito? ¿Tu
Tu,
plato?
no, pate, what pot? What
Oh,
pot is your
parte,
favorite?
perdón.
Pate.
Oh, mi parte favorito es I don't know, to give, what's to give? Dar, giving, would that be domente? No, giving los niños los regalos.
Ah,
Yeah.
es dar regalos a los niños.
Hanukkah, I don't really know how to say all this, but I'll try. Hanukkah, originalmente, no regalos. La Navidad y Hanukkah came from that. I don't know how to say it, but originally there's no presents for Hanukkah, but it came because all the Christian kids got those rabbis know feliz.
Bien. Ok. Sí, entiendo. Entonces, sí, entonces la costumbre, ¿entienden costumbre? Custom. La costumbre de dar regalos
Right.
empezó a crecer, began to grow,
Even with,
¿sí?
okay.
Desarrolló porque había tantas celebraciones de Navidad también,
Mhm.
because there were so many Christmas celebrations also, ¿ok?
Mhm.
Bien, bien, excelente. Me encantan latkes. Oh, Tomás.
Con applesauce.
Acabar de
Oh, Tomás, muy suave. You're really, really soft. Perdón.
acabar de celebrar mi cumpleaños el viernes.
Oh, felicitaciones.
Yes. Nosotros somos celebrar Feliz Navidad. Vimos luces. Nosotros bebimos vino tinto y comimos smoked salmon, porcina, ugamos higos y relevante, and then somos bendecidos.
Bendecido or blessed.
Bendecidos.
Ok. Bien. Sí, vino tinto. Vino tinto es la manera de decir red wine. No es como tinted. Todo el mundo dice vino tinto. Vino tinto.
Smoked salmon. I just said, what is smoked
Salmón.
Mhm.
Salmón es salmon, ¿sí?
Uh-huh.
Salmón ahumado. Perdón,
Ahumado.
una M, sí. Sí, el salmón ahumado. And my accent marks are not there. Salmón, normalmente salmón lleva acento, salmón, en la O. Bien. Entonces, Tomás, tu cumpleaños es en diciembre.
Sí.
Como niño, as a kid, como niña o como niño, ¿era difícil tener un cumpleaños en diciembre?
Sí. Combined.
Sí. Combinar los parientes, relatives, los parientes combinaron las celebraciones y tu cumpleaños, sí. Mucha gente dice o me dice que es difícil cuando un niño tiene un cumpleaños en diciembre, porque muchas veces los parientes no quieren comprar 2 regalos, quieren comprar un regalo. O quizás para ti, maybe for you, quizás para ti un regalo grandísimo, ¿no? No. ¡Ay! Ay. Ok. Bien. Me gusta, Tomás.
Gracias.
Me gusta. Bien. Ok. ¿Alguien más? ¿Quién quiere? Ah, Subay.
Okay. Usualmente cada año mi esposo y yo vamos a la fiesta de Nochebuena de nuestro mejor amigo. Nosotros disfrutamos el tiempo con nuestros amigos y la comida del festival. A veces en el día de Navidad invitamos nuestros amigos que no tienen familia en la ciudad a nuestra casa para celebrar la Navidad, Hanukkah y cumpleaños juntos.
Ah, bien.
Este año hacemos al menos. Nosotros no vamos a reunirnos.
Reunirnos, get together, reunirnos. Es difícil. Voy a teclear. I'm going to type it in here. Reunirnos. We get to, no, continúa, perdón.
Okay, nosotros no vamos a reunirnos con nadie.
No nos reunimos con nadie tampoco. Us either. Tampoco, not us either. No nos reunimos con nadie tampoco. Con mis hijos que viven con nosotros, es la burbuja, it's the bubble. Es nuestra burbuja, it's our bubble. Vamos a tener una reunión por Zoom con los parientes que viven en Florida y Chicago y Michigan, pero no nos reunimos. El año pasado nos reunimos en Florida con los padres de mi esposo y era una reunión grandísima, pero en enero empezó la pandemia y nada, ok. Entonces todo por Zoom, everything on Zoom, ok. Bueno, Suwai, ¿sus amigos tienen una cena muy grande? ¿O es un buffet o una cena formal?
No, both. How to say both?
Los dos. Los dos.
Yeah.
The two
Yeah,
of them.
sometimes buffet. A veces buffet, a veces.
A veces buffet. Y
Because
otras.
me encanta cocinar.
Oh, bien. ¿Llevas algo a la cena? Do you bring something to the meal? ¿Llevas algo? Do you carry something over? No. Ok, cocinas bien. Porque cocinas el otro día. You cooked the other day.
Yes.
Tú cocinas para todos el otro día, entiendo.
Yo cocino en el día de Navidad.
Navidad,
En
bien.
Navidad cocina en Nochebuena.
En Nochebuena. Nochebuena, good night, es Christmas Eve, ¿verdad?
That's
Nochebuena.
the name.
Nochebuena quiere decir Christmas Eve. Y la Nochebuena normalmente es un día más importante en el mundo hispano que la Navidad. Las familias celebran más en Nochebuena. Nochebuena es el día cuando se celebra con toda la familia, primos, tíos, abuelos, suegros, in-laws, todos. Bien. Normalmente en una familia hispana, la Nochebuena es el día más importante de la celebración. Y todos van a la misa, and everybody's got to go to church after that. Okay, bien. Okay, bien. ¿Quién? I want to make sure I fit everybody in. Hay más comentarios. Anybody have more to comment on? ¿Sí?
I can be ready.
Bien. Dinos algo. Tell us something.
Normalmente, la día de Navidad, mi hermano y su familia y mi hija Sarah y su familia vienen a mi casa. No tenemos cena. Cada adulto necesita traer un aperitivo elegante. No galetas y queso, no nachos y salsa, solo aperitivos elegantes. Camarones, bistec sliders, guajer.
Sliders.
Nosotros,
Hamburguesas muy pequeñas, ¿no?
sí,
Hamburguesas pequeñitas.
dice
Hamburguesas pequeñitas, really teeny tiny.
teeny tiny. Nosotros empezamos a y cada media hora un aperitivo nuevo se servir.
Entonces, tienes un sistema.
Ujú.
Cada media hora,
Cada
every
media hora.
half hour.
Sí. Después un niño encuentra el pepinillo en el árbol de Navidad. Abrimos nuestros regalos uno a la vez.
Bien. Pepinillo es pickle, ¿no?
Sí.
Pickle. Hay un costumbre, especialmente en las familias alemanas, especially in German families,
Sí.
de tener un ornamento
Sí.
en forma de pepino, in the form of a pickle. One ornament is a pickle. Hay uno en el árbol y los
Sí.
niños tienen que buscar dónde está. Y siempre hay algo para celebrar la persona o el niño que encuentra, que encuentra el pepino. Bien.
Sí.
Me gusta el sistema de tener un horario cada media hora, cada 30
media
minutos, cada 30 minutos, otro plato para compartir, to share, para compartir. Bien. ¿Hay más preguntas o no? No. Ok. ¿Alguien más? Somebody else?
I'll go
I
give it a
can,
shot.
okay.
Go ahead, Mary.
Mariam.
I'll give it a shot. Este año, mi esposo y yo celebremos la Navidad con nuestro hijo, nuestra hija, su esposo y 2 nietos. Los niños tienen 1 y 5 años.
1 año y 5 años. Muy pequeños.
Yeah. Santa vendrá a la casa con regalos.
Vendrán, they will come.
Vendrán, yeah. Normalmente mi familia celebra con mi hermano, dos hermanas, sus familias.
Familias.
Tristemente, no este año. Dos quedaron en casa. Este año, hermanos Zoom Navidad.
Bien.
And then I said 2020 es un año muy diferente.
Es un año diferente, sí.
Yeah.
Pero así es. El año que viene, the year that's coming, next year, el próximo año, el año que viene, todo será mejor. Bien, mejor,
Yeah.
better.
Yes.
Va a ser mejor.
Muy mejor.
Va a ser mejor, va a ser mejor con la vacuna, claro. Ok, bien. Ok, entonces, tengo una pregunta, Mariana. ¿Tus nietos van a estar muy emocionados, no?
Sí. Excitamente.
Em-
Very,
Están...
muy.
Oh, perdón.
Go ahead.
Los niños están más emocionados para la comida o para los regalos.
Regalos.
Regalos, claro.
Yes.
Bien. ¿Hay más preguntas? Sí, no. Ok. Bien, bien. Ok, Jeff, ¿tienes algo?
Ok. En nuestra casa, la temporada navideña comienza temprano cuando decoramos nuestra casa con muchas luces y otras decoraciones como sombreros de Papá Noel encima de cactus y una guirnalda, a wreath,
Oh, sí.
en la puerta.
Guirnalda en la puerta, sí.
Yes. En años pasados, en Nueva York, ponemos casi la misma cantidad como Clark Griswold. So we put on almost as many lights on the house as in
¿De la
Clark
película? Entonces, ¿cuánto tiempo? How much time? ¿Por cuánto tiempo trabajas poniendo las luces en
en Nueva York, aproximadamente 4 días.
Wow.
Sí.
4 días.
Sí.
¡Ay!
Ay.
Ay.
En Arizona, half a day. I don't know how to say half a day. Mediodía.
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 Mediodía. ¡Ay! ¡Ay!
But,
Y hay que tener cuidado. You have to be careful. Hay que tener cuidado con
sí.
la escalera.
Yo estoy mucho menor, younger. I don't know. I was younger.
Menor, sí. Yo también entiendo eso, sí. Sí.
Usualmente, nuestra familia immediate family, intercambiar regalos en Nochebuena.
Ah, bien. Ok. Oh, no, perdón. Continúa.
Okay. A menudo, comemos la comida italiana que nuestro cuñado prepara, my brother-in-law.
Cuñado,
prepara.
brother-in-law, sí. Okay.
Let's see. I guess that's enough, I guess.
Ok. Otra palabra, escribí en el chat box aquí, sí, regalar. La palabra regalo quiere decir gift, the thing, pero hay un verbo, regalar. Regalar es to give a gift. And so now, es correcto decir intercambiar regalos, está bien, that's okay. Pero es más fácil, it's easier, es más fácil decir regalar o regalamos. So this is a very regular verb and you conjugate it just like any other AR verb. Regalamos los regalos cuando, regalamos would be we give gifts. And you can skip that word dar by using that word regalar, giving gifts. Sí, le regalé a mi hija ropa, por ejemplo. I gave my daughter clothing, ¿sí? Para la Navidad. O regalé un iPad a mi hijo. So, you can talk about giving gifts with that verb regalar, que es muy normal. Bien. Ok. ¿Hay más preguntas o no? ¿No? ¿Nada? ¿Algo más? Anything else?
I can go. I'll add an addendum to what he has just said.
Exacto. Ok, perfecto.
Mi esposo decora el dente toda la casa con luces durante la temporada festiva y mucho trabaja hasta que por completo perfectamiento. La mejor tradición es cuando además el árbol de Navidad en diciembre y lo decoramos con luces y ornamentos mientras escuchar la música de Navidad. That's it.
Sí, excelente. Otra palabra, another word they have for Christmas carols is villancicos. Villancicos is generally the word that is used to talk about Christmas carols. Well, I guess where does the word carols come from? I don't know, no sé. So, entonces, sí, villancicos, and they of course have, sometime we'd have to talk about that. Some of the Christmas carols are very traditional, like what you think of as, Come All Ye Faithful and all of that sort of thing, or Silent Night. But there are some that talk about little donkeys and all that kind of stuff. So there's one that talks about fishies swimming in the brook. I kid you not. How do fishies have anything to do with Christmas? No sé. No lo sé. I have no idea how fishies have anything to do with Christmas. But that is a very popular kind of song. There is also, para que sepan, just so you know, there is also, of course, in all the different countries that celebrate, there are differences between all these countries and how they celebrate as well. In Mexico, the big kickoff is really, kind of started this past weekend with La Virgen de Guadalupe, that festival for them, even though that's not Christmas, it is a celebration of Mary, the mother of Jesus. So that is a big celebration for them because she was said to appear to an Indian and appeared as a native woman. So big deal to the Mexican people because for the Mother of God to appear to not a Spaniard, but to an indigena, an indigenous person, as an indigenous person herself, is for them this very big, feeling of pride. But there are other celebrations as well, and I do want to show a little bit of one for you guys because it is sort of fun. It is about not. Perdón. I need to get my screens into the right place. It is from Colombia. Momentito. I really need to get my stuff set up properly. Oh, aquí viene. Here it comes. No. Wow. It's fritzing out on me. Let's try this one more time. Una vez más. I'm going to try to find the proper thing here. There's another celebration in Colombia, and the thing that you had mentioned, Trish, about velas, candles. Candles are always a big thing for a lot of celebrations, and it is also a big thing in Colombia. Okay. Ooh. And bear with me. I'm going to try to make sure I get my screen to show this properly. Wow, it does not want to show it. I may have to give you the link in a little bit. For some reason, it is showing me only half of a screen. Y no tengo ni idea. It's probably because I set up my Zoom screen not quite properly. In order to show you the video, I really need to have this in the proper screen. Perdón. I may need to show this as a smaller version. So bear with me. I am very sorry. This is going to look teeny tiny. I'm going to try to, okay. They're going to talk here about going shopping for something they call Dia de las Velitas, Day of the Little Candles. This isn't going to be quite the size I want it to be. Mejor, better. Okay, bien. ¿Pueden ver? Can you see? Okay, ver. This is in Colombia. This is in Colombia. And I'm going to leave the this up. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. This is kind of a cute custom. It is not from Mexico. No es de Mexico, no es de Colombia. This is really something they do in Colombia. And this is done, it's a national holiday for them. Also, like the 12th, so it would be really right around now. I think they just did this last week. Para celebrar velitas. And she's going to show some foods and things.
Porque pues no tenemos carro, no vamos a comprar, no nos interesa todavía.
Duro con dos.
It's hard with bags,
Sí,
he says.
entonces el carrito nos ayuda mucho. Aquí la situación es que todos, bueno, la mayoría estamos usando tapabocas en la
Tapabocas instead of mascarillas, masks. She uses the word tapabocas, and I've heard this used a lot. A tapa is a covering. So like the cap on your beer cap is a tapa, right? A lid that goes on top of anything is tapa, and tapabocas means it covers your mouth. So when she talks about tapabocas, she's talking about a face mask.
calle. Gel desinfectante, el lavado de manos, bueno, lo normal, supongo que para esto. Vamos en camino al supermercado y miren este día tan bonito. Me encantan los primeros días de diciembre, enero. Los días son así como muy
Very sunny
soleados,
days.
el cielo azul, la mayoría del tiempo. Es muy bonito, me encanta. Sí, acabamos de terminar la temporada de lluvias.
And she's saying they just
que
finished their
iba-
rainy season. I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit in the interest of time. Ah,
Ustedes no
velitas.
conocen y les va a gustar. Y leche de almendras primero. Y después vamos a ver dónde están las velitas.
She's looking for the little
Porque en esta
candles.
época todos los supermercados están vendiendo velitas, faroles.
Okay, están vendiendo velitas. They are selling little candles, velitas, de este tamaño, this kind of size. Faroles would be somewhat bigger lantern style candles. And we sometimes see the word faroles aquí, you know, because we've got that luminarias. It's the same idea. It's very akin to this idea of the luminarias that we see here in Arizona.
Cosas así para el día de las velitas. Estas arepas son deliciosas,
And these are arepas. Arepas are usually kind of a cheese-filled, how do you describe it? Son arepas. It's like a cheese-filled dough. So this is something that people have typically in places like Colombia, Venezuela. Venezuelans say that Colombians do not know how to make proper arepas. Colombians say that Venezuelans do not know how to make proper arepas. But it is kind of a national dish in the northern parts of Latin America to have arepas during Christmas. Like we have tamales. And there actually is a tamal she has, which is different.
Y tienen queso por dentro.
Cheese inside.
La cosa más rica de todo el mundo.
The most delicious thing in the
mundial.
world.
Me encantan, pero toca comerlas poco a poco. No son lo más saludable del mundo.
They're not the healthiest. No son lo más saludable. They're not, and she's got a lo in there because it means the thing. They're not the healthiest thing to eat, but they're traditional.
Hashtag or pound 8475.
Okay.
Pero son deliciosas, me encantan. Arepas de yuca. Y también vamos a llevar unos caladitos porque uno de estos días voy a hacer una receta que, no sé, creo que ustedes no conocen y les va a gustar. Listo, los encontramos, las velitas.
Listo, la encontramos. Listo, hey, great, she's saying. Here we go. She's saying, here we go, listo, las encontramos, them we found. Las encontramos, we found them.
Vamos a llevar dos.
Vamos a llevar, we're gonna take two.
Listo, ponlas en el carrito.
Put them in the cart. Ponlas.
Hoy es lunes, por fin, y estoy muy emocionada, no lo voy a negar. Hace muchos años no hago esta tradición, entonces me siento como una niña chiquita.
I feel like a little girl again. Okay, we're going to fast forward a little bit because I'll get too far off and people need to leave. I want to show you what the little velitas look like in their neighborhood. She shows what they look like that evening, and they're cooking. So I'll leave you the link for this so that you can watch it later. Aquí. So here, they're touring their neighborhood, and everybody, see how they set up their candles on like a little, like on a little board, una tabla, which is a board. So everybody gets a little board, and they put up their little candles on the little board outside their house. And now they're going to make some hot chocolate. Well, yeah, universal. Here are her tablitas.
Infancia, Cody.
No sé.
And you
Infancia
just
es
drip some
childhood.
wax and stick it on the board.
Infancia.
Sí, entonces me trae buenos recuerdos de mi infancia. Bueno, estamos aquí tomando chocolate
Yes.
y comiendo buñuelos, buñuelitos.
These buñuelos look very different from the buñuelos in Mexico. They are both desserts. Buñuelos en Colombia son como un donut hole, no? They're really pretty much like a donut hole, okay? The Mexican buñuelos, even though they're called the same thing, are usually flat discs. And some people make them just flat discs, very crunchy, very super crispy from Mexico. Some of them make them with a real fancy, what do you call those? ¿Cómo se llaman? You know, the little things that will make like a fancy, like a snowflake design and drop the dough into, you know, the frying oil. But the buñuelos in Colombia, they are equally fried up, equally unhealthy, but delicious, and totally different size from Mexican
Deliciosos.
buñuelos, even though they use the
Y
same
bueno,
name.
acabamos de hacer un video en vivo en Instagram. Estuvimos charlando con algunos de ustedes. Hay pólvora.
Yes. So, in case you guys don't know what that is, fireworks.
Sí, se supone que la pólvora está prohibida aquí en Bogotá, pero hay gente que la compra.
She's talking about fireworks. Fireworks is also the big thing. There's more fireworks used, I would say, in Hispanic countries over the Christmas season into New Year's. Normally, we only see it so much, you know, maybe New Year's Eve at a big celebration, but it is used a lot more during the winter holidays. Está prohibida. It is forbidden. Pero hay gente que la compra, but there are people who buy it, que la compra, it they buy. So people buy it anyways, just like kind of we do here. And there's a lot of fireworks
De
set
forma
off.
ilegal y la usa. Y pues tristemente al
Tristemente, sadly.
día siguiente también es siempre pasa lo mismo cada año en las noticias. Sabemos cuántos quemados hubo, cuántos.
So she's talking about, and every year people launch these illegal fireworks, and there's always in the news people who sadly, tristemente, got burned, people who got burned from the fireworks. We know what that's kind of like. Okay, so bien. I will share that with you in the email so you can watch it because it's a pretty long video, but you can kind of see how people start decorating, and she'll talk about kind of that whole thing of it's like an all-day thing. Yeah, they're decorating their houses, but it all goes up in one day. In one day, Dia de las Velitas, their day of the little candles. So I will share that with you. Okay. Bien. Fantástico. Eso es todo. I think that is it because I know people will need to go for their various things they need to do for the day and work and such. Y fue un placer. It was a delight. I'm glad that I will be seeing many of you again in enero. Nos vemos en enero. We'll see each other in January, ¿verdad? Y espero que ustedes lo pasen bien. I hope you all have a really good time, no matter how you're celebrating, no matter how small or big it might be. ¿Está bien?
Sí,
Feliz.
Vale.
Feliz Navidad.
gracias.
Feliz Navidad, feliz Hanukkah.
Gracias.
Felices celebraciones. Happy celebrations for
Feliz
everybody.
celebraciones.
Bye-bye.
Con buena comida y luces y todo.
Gracias.
Perfecto. And I make sure I send all those links out to you.
Okay. Gracias.
De nada, un placer, a delight. Bien.